Diba lived in a bustling city in Africa, where he worked as a banker. He was proud of his job, earning enough money to take care of his wife, Anana, and his aging parents. Life in the city was fast-paced, but Diba was happy. He had a good job, a loving wife, and dreams of a bright future. Anana was a beautiful and smart woman. She often talked about how life could be better if they moved abroad. She had heard stories from friends and relatives who had gone to other countries. They talked about how much easier life was there, how much more money they could make, and how many more opportunities there were. Anana believed that moving abroad was the key to a better life. She often spoke to Diba about it, painting a picture of a land where streets were filled with opportunities and where they could live in luxury. She told him that their children could grow up in a better environment, with better schools and more chances to succeed. At first, Diba wasn't convinced. He was comfortable in the city, where he knew the people, the language, and the customs. But as time went on, Anana's dream became his dream too. He wanted to make her happy, and he started to believe that maybe they could have a better life abroad. After many long talks, Diba finally agreed to Anana's plan. They sold their house, saved their money, and prepared to leave the city for a new life abroad. Diba's parents were worried. They told him stories of others who had gone abroad and faced hardships. They warned him that life in a foreign land could be difficult, especially when you leave behind everything you know. But Diba was determined. He loved Anana and wanted to give her the life she dreamed of. So with hope in their hearts, they boarded a plane and left Africa for a new beginning. When they arrived abroad, Diba and Anana were amazed by the tall buildings, busy streets, and the different people they saw. The city was full of life, and it seemed like anything was possible. But soon, Diba realized that finding a job in this new land was not as easy as he had thought. Back home, he was a respected banker, but here, no one knew him or cared about his experience. He sent out many job applications, but received no replies. Days turned into weeks, and Diba started to worry. Without a job, their savings were quickly running out. Diba finally found work, but it wasn't the kind of job he was used to. Instead of sitting behind a desk, he was washing dishes in a restaurant. It was hard, tiring work, and it paid very little. Anana also found a job as a carer, helping elderly people with their daily needs. But this was not the life she had imagined. As time passed, Anana grew more frustrated. She had dreamed of a better life, but instead they were struggling just to get by. She began to blame Diba for their situation, saying that he had failed to provide for her. The more Anana complained, the more distant she became. She spent less time at home, and Diba began to hear rumors that she was spending time with another man, a banker who had found success abroad. These rumors hurt Diba deeply, but he didn't want to believe them. He loved Anana and wanted to trust her. One night, Diba asked Anana if the rumors were true. She didn't deny them. Instead, she told him, "You're not the man I married. I need someone who can give me the life I deserve. If you can't do that, then I don't want to stay married to you." Diba was heartbroken. He had worked so hard to make Anana happy, but nothing he did seemed to be enough. He tried even harder to find a better job, but all his efforts failed. The doors remained closed, and his frustration grew. Meanwhile, Anana became colder and more distant. She spent more time away from home, and Diba felt their marriage slipping away. He didn't know what to do or how to fix things. One evening, Diba came home to find the police waiting for him. They told him that Anana had accused him of being violent. Diba was shocked. He had never hurt Anana, and he couldn't understand why she would say such a thing. Despite his pleas, the police had to follow their rules. They told him to leave the house he had rented for his family. Diba had no choice but to go. He left with only a small bag of clothes, not knowing where he would sleep that night. Now homeless, Diba wandered the streets, looking for a place to stay. He had no family in this new land, and very few friends. He felt lost and alone, like a stranger in a place that had once seemed so full of promise. He thought of his parents and the warnings they had given him before he left Africa. They had told him that life abroad could be tough, but he hadn't listened. Now he regretted not taking their advice more seriously. As Diba wandered, he began to reflect on his life and the choices he had made. He thought about how he had been lured by the dream of a better life abroad, only to find himself in a worse situation than before. Anana, however, continued her routine. justifying her decisions by convincing herself that she was better off without Diba's burden. But her friend Anita noticed how much Anana had changed. They had been close for years, and Anita could see that Anana was not herself. She seemed stressed, bitter, and frustrated, and Anita was determined to get to the root of the problem. One afternoon, Anita came over to visit Anana. They talked about random things for a while, but Anita could sense that something was off. Finally, she decided to bring up what was really on her mind. "Anana, I've been meaning to talk to you," Anita began, her tone soft but serious. "I can see that you're not happy, and I know you've been through a lot. But throwing Diba out like that, are you sure that's the right solution? I mean, you both made big sacrifices to come here." Anana frowned, feeling defensive. "Anita, it's easy for you to say. Diba hasn't been able to get a proper job since we came here. I'm the one paying the bills. I'm the one keeping things afloat. It's like he's not even trying hard enough." Anita shook her head. "I get that you're frustrated, but remember who Diba was before you came here. He had a good life back in Africa. He was earning well, taking care of his parents, and had a stable job. He didn't have to leave, but he did because he believed in your dream. You convinced him that things would be better here. Now, when things aren't working out, you've pushed him away instead of helping him through this rough time." Anana fell silent, her mind racing as she recalled how things were before they left Africa. Diba had been the one taking care of her, and she had always admired his strength and sense of responsibility. But in the face of their current struggles, she had forgotten all that. Anita continued, "If you keep treating him like this, you might lose him forever. Diba trusted you when he left everything behind. Now he's out there, homeless and broken, while you're sitting here acting like it's all his fault. Marriage is about being there for each other, especially in hard times. You can't just give up when things get tough." Anana felt a pang of guilt. Deep down, she knew Anita was right. She had let her own frustration and disappointment cloud her judgment, forgetting the love and trust that had held them together all these years. That evening, after much thought, Anana made the decision to call Diba. When she called, Diba was hesitant to answer. He had been deeply hurt by her actions and didn't know what to expect. But something in her voice seemed different, softer, more regretful. "Diba," Anana began, "I know I hurt you, and I'm really sorry. I've been unfair, and I can see that now. Please, come back home. Let's try to fix things together." Didn't respond immediately. He had been wandering from place to place with nowhere stable to stay, and though he was angry and disappointed, he still loved Anana and wanted their marriage to work. Eventually he agreed, and with nowhere else to go, he returned home. For the first few weeks after Diba returned home, things seemed to improve. Anana tried to be more supportive and understanding, and Diba felt a sense of relief being back with his family. They spent time together like they used to, and there was a small glimmer of hope that they could rebuild their relationship. Diba continued searching for a job, attending interviews and sending out applications, but the white-collar opportunities he longed for still eluded him. Despite his best efforts, he was stuck doing low-paying jobs that barely contributed to the household. Anana, who had promised to be patient, slowly began to grow frustrated again. Her old habits started creeping back. She began coming home late, staying out with no explanation, and when Diba asked her where she had been, she would respond with irritation. "I'm the one paying for everything here, Diba. Don't act like you have a right to question me when you're not even contributing," she would say, her words cutting deeper than she realized. Diba felt the weight of her words. He had sacrificed so much to follow Anana's dream, only to end up feeling like a burden in his own home. The respect he once commanded was gone, replaced by a sense of helplessness. One evening, Anana returned home later than usual, her face set with indifference. Diba had been waiting for her, pacing back and forth, his mind a whirlwind of frustration and hurt. The moment she stepped through the door, Diba couldn't hold back any longer. He rose from where he sat, his eyes burning with the weight of all he had been holding inside. Anana barely acknowledged him as she moved past, clearly exhausted and uninterested in any conversation. But Diba's voice cut through the air, sharp and trembling with the pain of months of bottled-up emotions. He told her that things couldn't continue like this. She had made him feel invisible, unimportant, as if he didn't matter in the grand scheme of their life together. His mind flashed back to the days in Africa when he was living a stable and respected life. He had a job that provided more than enough for his needs, he was taking care of their aging parents, and there was peace in their home. Everything was comfortable and predictable until she planted the idea in his head that they needed to move abroad for a better life. Diba reminded her of how she convinced him that their life would be better in a foreign land, how she had promised that opportunities would abound and they would both thrive. Trusting her words, he had sold everything, his properties, his investments, and left the familiar comforts of home behind. Now, standing in this cold apartment, he realized he was left with nothing. He couldn't even take care of himself, let alone their parents back in Africa. His voice cracked with bitterness as he asked why she had pushed him into this situation, why she had led him to believe in a dream that seemed so far from reality. Anana, tired and not in the mood to argue, answered him sharply. Her words were full of impatience. She pointed out that Diba wasn't a child. He had his own mind, and no one forced him to leave Africa. He agreed to the move because he thought it was the right decision, just like she did. She wasn't going to take all the blame now that things were difficult. They both made their choices, and she wasn't going to let him push all the responsibility on her. Diba's heart raced as anger rose inside him. How could she not see that he trusted her with everything? He believed in the picture she painted for their future. They were supposed to be in this together, supporting each other through whatever challenges came their way. But instead, she had turned away from him, making him feel like a burden, like someone who had failed her. It broke his heart to see the woman he had sacrificed so much for, now looking at him with such contempt, as if he was nothing more than a problem. He was once a proud man, but now he felt stripped of all respect. Anana scoffed, her voice cold and dismissive. If he was so unhappy with how things turned out, maybe he should have just stayed in Africa. There was no use in dwelling on the past. They were here now, and he just had to deal with it, the same way she had. Their words hung in the air, filling the room with tension. Neither of them moved, and the silence between them was heavy. The laughter and love that once filled their home were now replaced with resentment and regret. The fragile peace they had been holding onto was shattered by their harsh words. Things got worse as time went on. Anana started losing all respect for their marriage and began bringing different men into the house. Diba was heartbroken by her behavior, but every time he tried to talk to her, she would shut him down. One day, when he couldn't take it anymore, he confronted her, pleading with her to stop. Instead of listening, Anana coldly ignored his words and warned him to stay out of her business. One night, after bringing another man home, Diba had finally had enough and tried to talk to her seriously. He asked her why she was disrespecting him and their marriage like this. Anana didn't care. She became angry and started shouting. Then, in a wicked twist, she picked up the phone and called the police. Crying fake tears, she lied and told them that Diba had hit her. The police arrived quickly. Since Diba didn't have proper documents to stay abroad, things took a turn for the worse. Despite his pleas and explanations, the authorities believed Anana's story because she looked so convincing in her act. Diba was arrested, and without much delay, he was deported back to Africa with nothing. All his struggles, sacrifices, and hopes had crumbled into dust. Back home, Diba was a broken man. His mother was furious when she saw him return with nothing but shame. She had warned him from the beginning when he first mentioned wanting to marry Anana. She saw through Anana's fake charm and had told him not to go through with it. But Diba didn't listen. He thought he knew better and believed in his love for Anana. Now all her warnings were echoing in his mind, filling him with regret and guilt. Meanwhile, back abroad, Anana couldn't have been happier. With Diba out of the way, she was finally free to do whatever she wanted. She felt relieved that she no longer had to pretend to care about him. Her plan had worked perfectly. The real reason she insisted they relocate abroad wasn't because she cared about building a better future with Diba. In truth, Anana never really loved Diba. She had been secretly involved with another man, Kelvin, long before she even met Diba. Kelvin was the true love of her life, and moving abroad was her way of getting closer to him. Diba had just been a stepping stone, a ticket to get to the life she really wanted. She pretended to be the loving wife until they moved abroad. Then she showed her true colors. Now that Diba was out of the picture, she thought she could finally live the life she dreamed of with Kelvin. But Anana was in for a surprise. After celebrating Deba's deportation, she reached out to Kelvin, thinking she could now fully be with him. While Deba, despite his pain, began picking up the pieces of his life back in Africa. Soon Deba got a new job, much better than the one he had before he left Africa to travel abroad. It seemed like his life was finally beginning to take a positive turn after all the hardship. The new job offered him a good salary and some peace of mind. Slowly, he started rebuilding his life, determined to leave the pain and disappointment of the past behind. Though the memories of Anana's betrayal still lingered in his heart, Deba focused on taking care of himself and his aging parents, who were relieved to see him getting back on his feet. Back in the foreign land, Anana continued living as she pleased, thinking she had won. Without Deba around, she was free to entertain any man she wanted and spend her time as she wished. She was thrilled that she no longer had to pretend to care about Deba's complaints or his dreams. Her focus was now on Kelvin, the man she had been secretly in love with for years. Anana believed that everything was going according to her plan, but little did she know that trouble was just around the corner. Anana's main reason for pushing Deba to relocate abroad was never really about building a better life together. She had always had hidden motives. Kelvin, the man she was involved with, had been promising her a glamorous life if only she could come abroad. Anana was blinded by her infatuation for Kelvin and used Deba as a ticket to get closer to her secret lover. She convinced Deba to sell all his properties and leave everything behind, knowing full well that once they were abroad, she would find a way to get rid of him. With Deba deported and out of her life, Anana was confident that she would finally be with Kelvin. She started reaching out to him more often, eager to live out the future they had always talked about. But when she tried to get serious with him, she was hit with an unexpected truth. Kelvin was already married. He had a wife and children, something he had never told her about. All his sweet words and promises were nothing but lies. He had been playing her all along, just as she had played Deba. The betrayal stung deeply. Anana was left feeling confused and bitter. She had given up everything, including her marriage, thinking that Kelvin was the man of her dreams. Now she realized that she was just one of many women he was deceiving. She started regretting the choices she had made, but it was too late. Deba was gone, and the love he once had for her was destroyed. Anana was now alone, living in a foreign country with no real love, no stability, and no purpose. As the days passed, Anana's life began to spiral downward. Without Deba's support, she struggled with paying bills and maintaining the lifestyle she thought she deserved. The men she entertained came and went, leaving her feeling more empty each time. She tried reaching out to Kelvin again, but he had moved on, and she was left with nothing but broken promises. Meanwhile, back in Africa, Deba's life continued to improve. His new job brought him respect and recognition, and he was able to regain his confidence. He reconnected with old friends and began making new plans for his future. His mother, who had been heartbroken by what happened, was proud to see her son rise above the trials. Though the pain of the past still lingered, Deba knew he had learned a valuable lesson. He realized that not everyone who claims to love you has good intentions. Sometimes people come into your life only to take what they can and leave you broken. Deba's experience made him wiser and more careful about who he trusted. He was now focused on building a future that was strong and stable, not just for himself, but for his family as well. He understood that true happiness comes from within and that chasing after illusions only leads to heartbreak. While Anana was left drowning in the mess she created, Deba was moving forward, stronger and more determined than ever. Dear viewers, what lessons did you take away from this dramatic tale? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, share it with friends, and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest updates. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.